I am passionate about writing because I get to experience other lives. I get to create. I like naming things. I've had so many pets just because I like to give them names, so this is actually probably a healthier way of doing that. I like to create drama. I get lost in that world. I mean, I remember being very, very young and writing stories just in my head and creating sort of little worlds, and so I think that it's just there inside me. Those stories have always been there. My very first book I ever wrote was a book about Wayne Gretzky. And I was 14, and I wrote this story because I had I was fangirling, they call it now. I had a crush on him. And so I wrote this story about this 15-year-old girl that meets Wayne Gretzky, and they create this little love affair, very innocent. And at the time I was like, all my friends are like, oh, what a great story. And then I read it back as an adult, and I'm thinking, hell no. I had mommy brain when I'm reading it going, no. But it's just a way to live other lives. It's very, very exciting. The first book that I wrote is called Fated, and it is set in Scotland, and it's about a woman who went through some challenges in the United States. She's an American, and decided that she wanted to go back where her family came from. So she buys a little house in Scotland that needs quite a bit of work. And she's also a bit of a bookworm, so she wants to sort of create a bookstore / little cottage she can live in, maybe a bed and breakfast. And she's determined that she's going to make it on her own. But fate has other things in mind for her, so in walks our sexy carpenter. And so, throughout creating this new home and building this new home together, they are also building a relationship. I think that's why it's so important to make the characters relatable, because if you don't relate to them, then those little experiences or lessons they go through, they're not going to move the reader in any way, right? And so building, a good plot and creating a good backstory and characters that people love, if we can relate to them, then we can learn from them. Right, I do think about who's reading it as well. I don't use a lot of offensive. I do use some offensive language, but I don't have heavy storylines that could trigger pain or cause people to be uncomfortable. That's not my passion. My passion is making people feel loved and warm and excited and interested and intrigued about relationships. To think that I might get rich off this, I'm not sure I think that way. I feel like if people read it, it feels exciting to me, that they're able to sort of tap into a part of me in some ways, and we can make that connection. So my friends tell me they've read it and they hear it in my voice as they're reading. They hear me reading it to them. Oh, nice. Okay. I thought that's really funny. I hope during the naughty parts you're not hearing my voice. I am a spicy girl, so I enjoy writing a little bit of spice. And I have had people who applaud it and love it. And I've had other people that, want to slap me on the wrist. But I always warn people that it's a little spicy. I really want to know my characters, and I want to know why, they're excited to be with this person. I want there to be a buildup. I want there to be foreplay. And then I want there to be afterplay. I want people to give a damn. And so, as I started writing these stories, I started incorporating more and more sort of things about connection and lessons and yes, spiciness, but I wanted at the end of the book people to be excited that, the main characters, created something wonderful together. I'm always observing. I'm always observing people. Anyone can become a character in my book. I mean, I'm not going to use their real name or anything. I don't typically use, their stories, but for example, I have one friend who the energy he has is amazing, and he's got this very sharp, witty sense of humor. So his personality has found its way in several of my books, just because I really enjoy, his personality. So sometimes people will say things, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's going in a book, because it's so good.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm Jennifer Vitor, and I'm passionate about writing.